What's up, stock compounders? Brad here. So the big IPO day for Airbnb. Is Airbnb a buy at $145 per share? So I put up a poll today to try to get a sense for what you guys were seeing in Airbnb. Now, when we opened the day, Airbnb was at $68 per share, okay? I couldn't buy at that price. They said, you have to wait until sometime in the middle of the trading day before you could buy it. But it looked like it was going to open at $68. So I put up this post. 115 of you guys voted on this. And, clearly the majority of you think it's either overvalued or, all IPOs are egregiously priced. So they're all overvalued. 14% of you said it was fairly priced at $68 a share, and 12% think it's a good deal, a good value at $68 per share. So I thought that was interesting. Now, when I'm trying to get a sense for what a company is worth, my shortcut for that, if this is available, is to see what Professor Aswath Damodaran has valued the company at, okay? He doesn't value a lot of companies, but he's got a YouTube channel, and once in a while he'll put out some valuations. He's done Google, Facebook, Uber, a lot of the bigger companies, more popular companies in the last couple of years. And he did a video, I think it was about a week ago, on Airbnb. So he valued Airbnb. And this guy, he's been teaching valuation for something like 34 years. Okay, and I actually did a course with Professor Damodaran. I did the first online business valuation course that he offered. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Just incredible. He's such a wealth of knowledge. But anyway, let's find out how he values Airbnb. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't have a crystal ball, all right? So this is just his best estimate, making a bunch of assumptions of what Airbnb is worth. So you can see some of his assumptions here. You see the kind of base year gross bookings. You see the growth rates for revenues, operating margin, tax rates. So he's got all the info here. And he's doing a discounted cash flow valuation, all right? So he's looking at free cash flow to the firm over the next 10 years and a terminal year, doing all this to calculate what is the value per share, based on what he thinks the company is going to do over the next 10 years. And he came up with a value per share of about $39, okay, $39 per share. Now keep in mind, and he mentions this caveat in the video, number of shares. So that wasn't quite fixed yet, all right? But this was his best guess based on, what some of the filings had been up until this time, was about 935 million shares outstanding. So it turns out it wasn't that many shares that were issued. It was 671 million shares, okay? So we've got to take this fair value, this intrinsic value that he calculated, roughly $39, and we have to adjust for this lower actual share count of 671 million. So when we do that, we get a fair value of around $54 per share, okay? So already at the beginning of the day, on my Robinhood account, it said $68 per share. That's what it was opening at. So 54 to 68, you've already got a 25% premium on the stock, okay? It's supposedly going to trade for 25% more than Damodaran thinks it's worth, all right? So, that's something. And I don't know why that keeps disappearing. Let's put it there. So, right, it's 25% overvalued, right? If we take all of Damodaran's assumptions and make them our own, we don't modify the story at all based on what we think Airbnb is going to do over the next 10 years, which I would encourage you, if you're thinking about buying Airbnb, use your own assumptions for this discounted cash flow valuation. Obviously, Damodaran has, decades of experience doing this, but like I said, he doesn't have a crystal ball. He doesn't know, these numbers are most certainly wrong, okay? They're really just his best guess, but they will inevitably be wrong. So, insert your own numbers. The point here is that, with a $54 per share intrinsic value, once these shares started trading, very quickly the stock price went up to $164 per share, okay, which is more than 3 times the intrinsic value as determined by Aswath Damodaran. So, guys, nosebleed prices. These are, you could say this is egregiously priced, this IPO. I would probably say that. And of course, towards the end of the day, it came down to $145 per share, which is still 2.7 times the value that, one of the great professors of business valuation came up with. So, and the cool thing here, if you go to his YouTube video on the Airbnb IPO, you can actually download the spreadsheet that he uses to calculate the value of Airbnb. It's a very complex spreadsheet. This is just one page. So it's very easy to get lost in the complexity if you use Aswath Damodaran's spreadsheet. So I would encourage you, if you want to do your own valuation work on this, find a simpler template, okay? And you can use a lot of the assumptions that he made, but you probably don't need this level of detail in order to come up with, a reasonably, well, we don't know what accurate is because nobody knows what the world is going to be like in 10 years for Airbnb. But what I'm saying is you don't need this level of complexity to come up with a kind of a working model of, what a fair value is for Airbnb. But yeah, I just wanted to share this, guys. I definitely do not think that Airbnb is a buy at $145 per share. I also found out something interesting. One of my friends applied about 5 years ago, applied to Airbnb, and he was offered a job, and as part of his compensation, he was being offered, I think it was like 32,000 RSUs per year, restricted stock units. So let's say he had accepted that job and he had worked at Airbnb for, the average kind of duration that employees worked at Airbnb, 2 years. So he would have amassed 64,000 RSUs, okay, over those 2 years. Now, the market cap of Airbnb when those were issued was $10 billion, okay? $10 billion. So what would that be worth today if he had gotten the job at Airbnb and held on to those restricted stock units? So essentially they would have gone up 8.5 times to right now, because the market cap was 10 billion. Now it's 85 billion, okay, as of the end of today, December 10th. So you got 64,000 times 8.5. What is that? That is $544,000 that he left on the table by not accepting that role, that job with Airbnb. So, it just goes to show you, if you hitch your wagon to the right company at the right time, pretty impressive things can happen in terms of compounding your wealth. Obviously, Airbnb has been something of a unicorn company. It's just exceeded all expectations since it was started. A lot of people, I think I remember Gary Vaynerchuk was approached by the founders of Airbnb, and he thought it was a ridiculous idea. He thought nobody is going to want to let a stranger stay in their house. That's, this is not a thing that's going to get traction. And so, some of these ideas that turn out to be amazing, it's really difficult to see that they could actually work for really brilliant investors. So just a fascinating story, Airbnb. I'm very interested to see, how this plays out over the next couple of months. Does it double again from here at $145 per share? Or does it come back down in the very near future to, a more reasonable price in terms of, as compared to what maybe the fundamentals of the business suggest that it should be priced at. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to share about this Airbnb IPO. It was pretty interesting watching it today. And again, it'll be interesting to watch where it goes from here. Let me know what you guys think it's worth. Obviously, $54 is one man's opinion. So much of it is based on what we see as the trajectory over the next 10, 20, 30 years for this incredible company, this incredible sharing economy company. But I will leave it at that, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.